Larry, this is not your first rodeo at Baylor. Tell me a little bit about the odyssey from Baylor back to Baylor.
Yeah, so I started out at Garland High School, came to Baylor in 1990 and was here for 6 years. Left here in 96, went to the Air Force Academy and spent a couple of years there with Fisher DeBerry, who was another tremendous head coach that I got to work for. I was then offered an offensive coordinator job with Andy McCollum at Middle Tennessee State. I knew Andy because I worked with him here at Baylor on Chuck Reedy's staff. And so I go to Middle Tennessee State. I'm there for 3 years. We have some success offensively. I get hired as the offensive coordinator at the University of Florida and was there for 3 years. And we had quite a bit of success offensively there. When Mike Gundy got the job at Oklahoma State, he asked me to come to Oklahoma State and bring the offense out there as his offensive coordinator, and so I did that. I was there 3 years, and we had some success, and so I got the head job at Southern Mississippi. Was there 4 years at Southern Miss, and we won a championship there in 11 and was fortunate to get the head coaching job at the University of North Carolina. Spent 7 years at the University of North Carolina, and then came back to Texas as an analyst with Tom Herman there at the University of Texas. And then after the season, Dave called, and we decided to come back to Baylor. So it's been a wild trip. A wife of 31 years and 4 children, 2 of them born in Waco, 1 born in Colorado, 1 born in Tennessee.
All of that coaching experience that you've been through, is there any one mentor out of that has pretty much molded your football mind?
Well, Coach Taft was the first college head coach that I worked for, and I learned a tremendous amount from him, on what it meant to be a college football coach. Not only that, to be a strong Christian and to be a great family man, and he had a tremendous impact on my life. Chuck Reedy followed that up, Fisher DeBerry, the same thing. Andy McCollum, Ron Zook at Florida, Mike Gundy. I have worked for some tremendous head coaches that I have learned from, and I have gained experience in all of those situations. But there's one man that I have called in any decision I've made in this coaching profession, and that's Coach Taft.
What was your connection with Dave Aranda to get you here now?
Yeah, I really didn't have a connection with Coach Aranda other than a tremendous amount of respect as an offensive coach, watching defensive coordinators across the country and who's been really good year in and year out wherever they were. So I've studied Coach Aranda, but personally I didn't know him very well. Had, like I said, a tremendous amount of respect for him, and so when he called, having the opportunity to sit down with him, get to know him, and then to work for him, I couldn't turn him down.
The evolution of the offense in college football from the time you were here at Baylor when they ran the ball quite a bit to now you're throwing the ball quite a bit.
Yeah, so just the evolution of offenses, across the country. I was very fortunate to be in on the front end of spread, no huddle, multi-tempoed offenses in 90, 99, 2000, when we started this thing. And even from that time, it's evolved. But, when we were here before, it was more of a ground game is what you built everything on. And now it's more about spreading the field, and making defenses spread out, and there's only so many yards across the field, and you got 11 guys to fill those seams in the defense, and you're trying to create as many horizontal and vertical seams in the defense as possible.
Coaches get to recruit the talent to their style of offense or whatever, but you're coming into a situation where you've already got talent on campus. How do you feel about that talent as it fits to what you want to do?
Well, I don't know about that talent yet. I know there's talent here. We'll get into spring ball and see that talent, but the key is making sure that we mold the offense around the talent that we have. It's not trying to stick a round hole or a square peg into a round hole. We want to take whatever's here and mold the offense around it. And then as we recruit, whatever level comes in or whatever talent comes in, then we'll mold the offense around them.
Having been an assistant coach and a head coach, what's the mindset of coming back to being an assistant?
I think it's, being able to sit back, having been in that chair that Coach Aranda is sitting in, understanding the pressure, understanding why he makes some of the decisions that he makes, because you've been there, I think gives you a fresh perspective on what you have to do, and so, for me now, I can say when I very first started as an offensive coordinator, it was be the best offense out there and score as many points as you needed to do. Well, I mean, now it's more about, you want to be the best offense out there, but you want to score enough points to win the football game. And so you want to complement the defense. You want to complement the special teams. It's not just about the offense.
Now, being an assistant coach, that probably means you got to go back out on the road and recruit again, whereas a head coach, usually you were just kind of the closer.
Right.
But you're going to be in the state of Texas, the place you know pretty well.
Yeah, I do know, and there's no better place than the state of Texas for high school football, and you got some of the best coaches in the entire country that are high school coaches in this state. They have a wealth of knowledge, and I'll tell you from the very first, Scott Smith, who I went to Garland High School with, who's a Baylor grad. I learned still the way that I teach and the way that I coach nowadays, I learned from Scott Smith back at Garland High School. And so, Texas high school coaches have done so much for me, and I was a Texas high school coach. My brother is the head high school coach at A&M Consolidated. I have so many connections in the state. I'm looking forward to getting back out there and reconnecting with those guys.
Well, so you've got a reputation as being like super wide open, but my observation of looking at you is that you try to adapt yourself to what your players are capable of doing.
Yeah, I believe that a good football coach, that's what he does. He adapts to whatever his players can do. I've had, and basically when you're in a spread offense, it's around the quarterback a lot of times. I've had a left-handed quarterback that didn't have a very strong arm, but he led the nation in completion percentages. I've had quarterbacks that weren't very good runners. I've had quarterbacks that were extremely good runners. So I've always tried to mold the offense around, what we have at the quarterback position. I intend to do that here.
Okay, you've had a chance to see film of Charlie Brewer. Initial impressions of him and of the other two guys, Bohannon and Jacob.
Zeno? Yeah. I don't have much. I haven't watched much film on those guys, to be honest with you. I haven't watched much film on Charlie. The only film I saw on Charlie or the Baylor offense is when we were preparing for him last year at the University of Texas. So I haven't come in here and watched film on these guys. I've never gone to another school and watched film on the previous offense. That's not something that I've ever done. And so, Charlie and Jacob and Gary and Garrett and all those guys in that room. I'm learning every day about who they are, and I told them from day one they get to build their resume with me on a daily basis. Whoever they want to be, they can be. Whoever they've been in the past, it really doesn't matter. And so I'm looking forward to finding out every detail about these guys, and then again molding the offense around what they can do.
Okay, I know that, but the offensive line had some issues last year. Do y'all think
I don't know
you
that.
have?
If you told me that, that's the first time I've heard that.
Okay. Have you had a chance?
Because you remember, I don't read the chat sites and the I don't listen to talk shows, so I couldn't tell you what any problems were here. All I know is they won 11 games, and played for the conference championship.
Have you had a chance to meet with any of the offensive linemen?
Well, yeah, we've had a lot of opportunities to just meet guys, and so whether I see them in the lounge or whether it was the other night when we were watching the Wilder Fury fight, or it was when we were watching the Pro Bowl together, or all the different activities that Dave has set up for us to be able to sit down and get to know these guys, whether it's been going over to the bank and eating dinner when they're over there eating, or when we're in meetings. But to really, I still don't know, what they can do, and I won't know that till we get into spring ball.